Let's keep going.
はい、クローン法です。
Yes, the clone law. I don't know. I forgot.
2010年に
In 2010? Excuse me, something is going funky with my audio. Okay, that should fix it.
それまで禁止されていた人間のクローン受精は法律で認められました。
That probably wasn't something that may not have been noticeable on the recording. It was just something about me hearing the voice acting. Human cloning, which has been illegal up until then, was allowed by law.
現在では省庁の許可さえ得られれば誰でもクローン受精による不妊治療が受けられるようになっています。
Currently, as long as anyone receives the approval of the authorities, cloning may be used as a method to treat infertility.
培養した体細胞から核を抜き取り、別のすでに核を抜き取ってある卵細胞の中にそれを移植し、
They take the nucleus from an already cultivated somatic cell and then insert it into an egg that has had its original nucleus removed. Then they implant it into the mother's womb. Oh, that's right, I remember now.
ご理解いただけましたか？
Do you understand? But what does that have to do with this? Clones develop separately. In other words, they are complete entities. They're not the same person, they're more like twins.
でも、その由来は単一です。
But their source is the same. Sora spoke almost casually.
話を戻しますね。
Let's go back to what we were talking about.
私は偏在している。
I am omnipresent.
同じ空間の中に、時間の中に、複数の私が存在できるのです。
Just check something here. This is such familiar dialogue. Yes. After Midnight Atonement. Okay. There can be several of me existing in the same space at the same time.
例えば、倉成さんの前とココちゃんの前。
For example, in front of you and in front of Coco.
あそことここに2人の私がいる。
There was here and there are two of me. So I'm very disappointed to find out that Takeshi goes down the Sora route essentially in the Coco ending.
けれどそれは決してダブルではなく
But they are definitely not W.
Y なのです。
But why? Why?
そうですね。考えてみてください。
You see, please think of it this way.
もしもあなたという人格をそっくりそのままコピーすることができるとしたら
But if you could be copied exactly, just the way you are.
例えば
For instance,
あなたの脳に刻まれたすべての記憶、考え方、感じ方、人格、性格、感情。
For instance, what if every recollection, thought, feeling, character trait, personality, and emotion that is etched into your
それ
mind
らすべての情報を正確に、忠実に摘出することができたとして、
In other words, your whole intelligence could be perfectly exactly extracted.
それを何らかの記憶媒体に複製し、しかもその機能を再現できるとしたら、
Then duplicated in some kind of storage medium, even reproducing all your abilities.
その時、本当のあなたはどこにいるのでしょうか。
Then where is the real you?
肉体に残ったままの人格が本当のあなた？
The you who stays in your body, is that the real you?
それとも複製した人格が本当のあなた？
Or is the duplicate character, in fact, you?
正解はそのいずれにも本当のあなたがいるです。
The answer is, in any case, the real you does exist in both.
そう、あなたは分裂し2つになるのです。
Yes, you have divided into two.
歴史的にはその瞬間から 2人のあなたは別々の個体として同一時間軸上を歩んでいくことになります。
Historically, and from that moment forward, the two of you are traveling down the time axis as separate entities.
けれど、その道のりを振り返ってみれば、2つのあなたはある一点で結ばれていたことがわかるはずです。
But if you turn around and look at the journey you have taken, you will see that at one point the two of you were joined together.
それがつまり Y なのです。ダブルではなく Y。
It is split like a Y, with 2 points emerging from one line, not a W with two separate points of origin.
あるポイントを起点として別々に分かれていく2つの自分をあなたは想像することができないかもしれません。
You may be unable to imagine two of yourself splitting apart and going different ways at a particular moment, which we will use as a reference point.
しかし、それはすでに起こっていることなのです。
But that is something that has already happened.
あなたは常に絶え間なく訪れては過ぎ去っていく瞬間瞬間の中で何らかの選択を迫られています。
You are always constantly approaching a choice in each present moment that becomes the past the instant you visit it.
A の道を行くか B の道を行くか。
Will you choose path A? Will you choose path B?
ここにいるあなたが A の道を歩んできたとしても、別の時間軸上では B の道を歩んできたあなたが存在するかもしれません。
The you that is standing here may have come down path A, but in another time axis there may be you who is going down path B.
そして A の道のあなたも B の道のあなたもあなたであることに変わりはない。
Both the you in path A and the you on path B are both still you.
ただ A の道にいるあなたは B の道にいるあなたのことを知りません。
Except that the you on path A doesn't know about the you on path B,
知る手段がないからです。
because there is no way to know.
同様に B の道にいるあなたも A の道にいるあなたのことには気づかないでしょう。
Same way, the you on path B probably isn't aware of the you on path A either.
なぜだかわかりますか？
Do you know why that is? Tell me if this is basically it. The me on path A that you are talking about is one of the branches of the Y, and the me on path B is the other branch. To make it easier to understand, let's say that this is all two-dimensional or a flat plane. In this case, both my A and B selves would be two-dimensional beings. As two-dimensional beings, we wouldn't have an accurate awareness of their two-dimensional world at any time. Just like a person in a three-dimensional world can't keep track of all 6 sides of a die in the real time. That means, let's see. Dang, I lost my train of thought. In other words, basically it means this. The person at one end of the Y and the person at the other end of the Y branch can't really be aware of each other in real time. In order to know what is happening at the other end of the Y, you'd have to extract yourself from the two-dimensional plane and view the Y from a three-dimensional space. Until you can do that, even if you understand it mentally, there is no way to confirm whether both A and B selves exist.
まあ、ほぼ正解ですね。
Well, that is just about right.
続けます。
To pick up there, Sora said this in a matter-of-fact tone.
今、倉成さんが意味軸もおっしゃったように、
As you have just been
二
saying,
次元的な存在は二次元平面から脱出し、三次元空間内からその平面を見下ろさない限り、
until a being existed in the second dimension, removes themselves from the second dimension and views it from the third dimensional space above,
二次元の全体像を把握することはできません。
that person will never fully be able to grasp the second dimension.
脱出が可能となった時、その時初めて自分が Y の字の一部であったことに気づき、
And that individual gets out of the second dimension. Only then does he realize that there is another of himself on another branch of the Y.
さらに枝分かれしたもう一人の自分がいることにも気づけるのです。
And realize, too, that there is another you who took a different branch of the
ま
Y.
とめましょう。
Let us try to pull this together.
N 次元的な存在が N 次元の全体像を把握するためには N プラス1次元空間へと脱出する必要がある。
In order to be fully aware of one's dimension, one must view it from the next dimension, n plus 1, or one dimension removed. Again, this is something humans like to see, but it isn't required. It actually is not required.
もちろんこれは三次元空間内においても当てはまります。
Of course, this also applies to three-dimensional space.
三次元的な存在が三次元の全体像を把握するためには四次元空間へと脱出する必要がある。
For a person to be fully aware of the third dimension, he or she needs to enter the fourth dimension.
つまり倉成さんが枝分かれした他の自分がいることに気づくためには
In other words, for you to realize that there is another of yourself that is branched off.
4次元空間へと飛び出して、この私たちがいる3次元空間内を見下ろさなければならないのです。
You must get into the fourth dimension and look down into the third dimension.
この場合の4次元空間とは、ミンコフスキー時空のことを指しているわけですが、まあその話はいいでしょう。
In this case, the fourth dimensional space becomes a type of Minkowski space, but let's not get into that. Let's get into that. The metric down the diagonal is -1, 1, 1, 1. Minkowski space has now been described.
さて、
So,
これで異なった歴史、異なった世界、異なった空間の中に別の自分自身が存在する。
just so that you know I understand, some textbooks will say it's 1, -1, -1, -1. As long as you keep the same sign convention consistent throughout all your calculations, you should get the same physical answer, no matter which metric you choose. Anyway, so with this, I think I have gotten you to understand that there can be versions of yourself with different histories.
ということが分かってもらえたでしょうか。
In different worlds and existing in different spaces.
世界に自己は偏在しているのです。
You are omnipresent in the world.
あなたと同様に私という存在も偏在しています。
And in the same way, so am I.
あなたも私と同じ
You and
単
I,
一から分かれた Y
we are just branches of the Y.
ですが、
However,
偏在する自己は一つになれるのです。
your divided selves can become one.
あなたの知らないあなたがあなた自身と不可分の存在になれるとしたら、
If the self you don't know were to become inseparably bound with you,
あなた自身が他のあらゆるあなたを把握できる位置に立って全てを見通せたとしたら、
if you could stand in a place where you could see and understand all the others that were you,
全てのあなたの体験はあなた一人の体験に等しくなる。
then all the experiences of your other selves would become like your own experiences.
あなたは本当の意味でたった一つの存在になる。
In the truest sense, you would become one. I let out a long sigh. That's the new thing. What was said just there is new. That you can merge somehow. Listen, can I ask you something?
どうぞ。
Please do. Why are you telling all this to me?
いい質問ですね。
That's a good question. It's part of the experiment. Sora did a somersault in space and smiled.
伝説ですよ。
It is a legend.
このレミューの由来のレムリア大陸に伝わる伝説です。
It has to do with the origin of Lemu and the mystical Lemurian continent.
そういうことにしておいてください。
Let's just leave it at that.
内緒ですよ。
And you must understand, it is a secret. Sora held up one finger in front of her mouth. And then without a sound, she vanished. For a while I just stood there lost in thought. There was a doorbell ditching and eating and running. But I figured there wasn't a word like chat and run or debate and ditch. But that was exactly what Sora had just done to me. Oh well. Letting out a sigh, I made for the exit. As I walked, I reflected back on what Sora had said. Clones and dividing selves, walking in different times, simultaneous copies of Sora, the ubiquitous Sora. I wondered if Sora was just trying to say that everything was all the same. So maybe Sora, with all her incomprehensible and special attributes, not having one self, was really not all that different. I wondered if that was what Sora had wanted to say. I wasn't sure. You're kinda wrong, but I didn't see much use in thinking any more about things I didn't understand. That is when it happened. Squish. My foot came into contact with something soft. It felt like I had stepped on a person. That's not a person, is it? One of my feet was standing on the kid's small back. Hey kid, are you alright? I kneeled down next to him and raised his body up. Huh?
たけし、
Takeshi. What do you mean, Takeshi? What are you doing collapsed in a place like this?
こんなとこ？
Place like this? The kid bounced up like he had been shocked.
ああ、そっか。
Yeah, oh yeah.
僕、なんでか知らないけど、突然頭が痛くなっちゃって。
I don't know what happened. All of a sudden my head hurt
そ
and...
れで ここに倒れちゃったんだ。
And then I fell down here. Your head? That could be bad news.
うん、もう大丈夫。
No, I'm alright.
ちょっと眠ったらすっきりしちゃった。
I think a little sleep refreshed me. For some reason, I really don't like that word, refreshed. It bothers me. You sure? You sure you're fine?
うー
Yeah,
ん、でもなんか背中が痛いかも。
but my back kinda hurts. I decided to tell him I'd been stepping on it.
あとはお腹が空きすぎて胃がキュルキュルと鳴ってる。
And I'm starved, my stomach won't stop growling. I see. Well, if you've got an appetite, then you're probably okay, but maybe you should have Sora take a look at you. Healthy people don't just get headaches and collapse all of a sudden.
はーっと。
Hey, are you listening to what I'm saying?
何が？
What?
もうたけしは心配性だな。平気だってば。
Guess you worry too much. I said I'm fine.
ただの貧血だよ、貧血。
I'm just a little anemic is all.
じゃなかったら疲労か空腹か睡魔。
If it's not that, then I'm probably tired or hungry.
とにかく今は背中以外に痛いところはないし。
Anyway, right, the only thing that hurts is my back. Yeah, I just can't bring myself to tell him I've stepped on it.
そんなことよりも早く売店行こうよ。
Enough with that. Let's get to the kiosk.
僕お腹ペコペコなんだから。
I'm starving. Saying that, the kid made for the exit, walking briskly. Shrugging, I watched him go. I was famished as well, but there was one more place I had to go before I went to the kiosk. Of course, it was to see Tsugumi. Her surgery was done a long time before Sora's talk with W and Y, over 7 hours before. I'd asked Sora about Tsugumi's condition.
40針ほど縫いました。全治2ヶ月といったところです。
It required a total of 40 stitches and will take 2 months to heal completely.
元のように歩けるようになるにはさらに数ヶ月かかりますね。
Until our rescue team arrives at Lemu and we can get her out of here, she will have to rest.
小町さんには救助が来てレミューから出られるようになるまで安静にしてもらうことになるでしょう。
So I imagine that Tsugumi will have to rest until a rescue team comes or she can get out of Lemu. We were lucky that there was no damage done to her brain or organs. Only her right thigh was injured. Maybe only wasn't the best way to put it. In any case, she had a compound fracture and had a severed artery, and if we had taken any longer to treat her, she might have died from blood loss. I was thankful to you from the bottom of my heart. I entered the infirmary. Tsugumi was sleeping quietly on the bed in the far side of the room. It wasn't my first time to visit her since the surgery. I had seen in and out from that been in and out that afternoon to evening and again. Oh. I have been in and out from that afternoon to evening again and again. Thinking about it then, it seemed to me that the reason Sora had suddenly called me and explained about the whole W and Y thing had probably been to take my mind off of Tsugumi. Her condition hadn't changed. She looked peaceful and was breathing steadily. A white blanket was covering her, and her foot peeked out from under it. She had a cast and bandage wrapped around her right leg. It looked painful. The smell of medicine continued to assault my nose. The scene was fairly raw, with traces still visible of where blood had been wiped away. I reached my hand under the blanket and gently took Tsugumi's palm in my hand. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. All I could do was repeat that mantra over and over to resting Tsugumi. After eating dinner at the kiosk, the 4 of us, you, Coco, the kid, and myself, moved to the rest area. The kid started.
はーいわーい、待て待て。
Whoa, wait. The kid was chasing Pee-Pee around as they move around the statues. They all looked like they were having fun. You
ちょ
decided,
っと私空の様子見てくるね。
I'm going to look in on Sora to head for the control room. Coco. Huh? I didn't see Coco anywhere. I decided to look into the nearby kiosk. But she wasn't there. No one was. I emerged in the corridor. Squinting, I looked down the corridor to where I came to a T. Only there was no sign of anyone. Nearby was the entrance to the Lemurian ruins. The door was open. I could hear a small splashing sound coming from the area. I entered the room as if it were inviting me in. Coco was standing in the center of the room. She was standing on a stone that was just above the water's surface, her feet together. Coco? Coco lifted her face. She looked lonely. I approached her. What are you up to? Coco just stood there silently, eyes on the surface of the water. Looking closer, I saw that she was clutching something in her left hand. Then Coco took that something in her right hand and let loose with it, tossing it into space. Splish. With a light splashing sound that something hit and sank in the water. It disappeared amidst a circle of expanding ripples. Splish. Coco threw something again. There was a small spray of water. The light's reflection on the water shook uncertainly. Splish, splish, splish. Just as the waves were about to die away, Coco launched something into the water. But the area was dark and I couldn't see what it was. Hey, Coco? What is that? Coco opened her hand and showed me. In her palm were tiny pebble-sized pellets. I wondered if they were glass. They were transparent and shaped like water droplets. They were shaped like crystal teardrops. That's how they looked. It was as if she had a handful of tears. Glass tears? Coco flicked one of them with the tip of her finger. Splish. And that tear sunk into the water.
ここね。
Yeah. Yeah, I know
つぐみんのこと考えてたんだ。
I've been thinking about Tsugumi. Coco said that, ignoring my question.
ここのせいなんだよね。
It's my fault. What?
つぐみんはここのことかばってくれて。
Tsugumi, she was just trying to save me.
ここのこと助けようとしてくれて。
She was just trying to help me.
だからつぐみんは
That's why, Tsugumi. Why, Tsugumi? Coco's shoulders shook.
本当なら怪我しちゃうのはここだったはずなんだ。
Really, I should have been the one hurt.
ううん。
No.
つぐみんが助けてくれなかったらココは死んじゃってたかもしれないんだ。
If Tsugumi hadn't saved me, I might have been dead. Splish. The tear traced an arc through the air before falling into the water.
つぐみん
Tsugumi.
怒ってるかな。
I wonder if she's angry. Don't be silly. Why would Tsugumi be angry with you? Even if she were angry with anyone, it would be me. I mean, my carelessness caused everything. I'm the one to blame. I thought about the sadness Coco was feeling. That was all my fault as well.
違うよ違う。
No.
タケピョンのせいなんかじゃないよ。
It's not your fault.
ココがいけないの。ココのせいなの。
It was me. I'm to blame. Except in the Japanese, it's like she says it in third person, it appears. So it's like, it was Coco. Coco is to blame.
ココがぼーっとしてたから。
It was because I wasn't paying attention.
つぐみんはココの身代わりになって。
That's why Tsugumi had to get hurt instead of me. Coco let the tears she was holding fall, scattering below her. A burst of white spray erupted from the water's surface below her.
タケピョン
Takepyon. Jumping off the rock, Coco came bounding into my chest.
つぐみんのとこ謝りに行く。
I'm going to apologize to Tsugumi.
ごめんなさいって言いに行く。
I'm going to tell her that I'm sorry.
ごめんなさいってごめんなさいって。
That I'm sorry. Just real sorry. Coco continued to bury her face in my chest, crying. Coco's tears seeped through into my skin and into my core, like rain falling on my heart. Cold rain. The many ripples in the water continued to fan out, never disappearing. Coco and I went to the infirmary. Inside the room was silent. We approached Tsugumi's bed carefully, so as not to make a sound. Tsugumi's eyes were open. She turned her face towards me.
何？
What? We came to see how you were doing. How are
ご
you?
覧の通りよ。
Same as I look.
それ以上でも以下でもない。
No more, no less. I see.
要はそれだけ？
Is that all? No. I didn't know how to say what had to be said. I didn't think that just saying I'm sorry and bowing my head would get my feelings across. I wanted to choose my words carefully. But
ここね。ここね。
Coco.
すぐに謝ろうと思って。
I came here because I wanted to apologize to you, Tsugumi. Coco opened her mouth before I could speak.
謝る？
Apologize? Yes.
だってつぐみはここのこと助けてくれたから。
Because you were trying to help me.
だからごめんなさいって言わなくちゃいけなくて。
So that's why I have to say I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
それから
And besides that,
ありがとうって。
I wanted to say thank you.
ごめんなさいとありがとうをここはつぐみに
I wanted to say sorry and thank you. Sorry and thank you, Tsugumi. Coco's voice shook and she almost sobbed as she tied her words together.
バカな子ね。
You silly girl. Tsugumi's expression hinted at a
こ
smile.
こありがとうなんて言わなくていいのよ。
Coco, you don't have to say thank
も
you.
ちろん謝る必要なんかもっとない。
Of course, you don't have to apologize either.
ここは何も悪くないんだから。
Because you didn't do anything wrong, Coco.
でも
But...
お願い。そんな悲しい顔しないで。
Please don't look so sad, all right? Tsugumi extended one of her arms from the bed. She touched her palm on Coco's cheek.
すべては怒るべくして怒ったの。
Everything happened because it was written that way.
誰のせいでもないの。
It is no one's fault, but the game writer. I had never seen Tsugumi be so nice, so gentle. Her piercing gaze and sharp tongue, they could have belonged to an entirely different person. For an instant, I wondered what would have happened if I had come to see her alone. Maybe Tsugumi was opening up to Coco.
ねえ、ココ。あの時のこと思い出してみて。
Hey, Coco, try to remember that time and what happened.
ココにパイプを押さえるように頼んだのは誰だった？
Who was it that asked Coco to hold the pipe?
それは
It was
私。
me.
私が頼んだの。
I asked you to.
ココがあの場所に立ってたのは私が指示を出したから。
So the reason that you were standing there was because I told you to.
つまり私のせいなのよ。
So it was my fault.
そんなこと関係ないよ。
That has nothing to do with it.
そうかもしれない。関係ないかもしれない。
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it doesn't.
だとしたら、私がココを突き飛ばしたことも、廃材が崩れ落ちてきたことも、誰の責任でもないということになる。でしょ？
So that would mean me pushing you out of the way and all those scrap materials falling. That was nobody's fault, right?
物事の因果関係なんて、そんなものなのよ。
That's just how the cause and effect of things works.
原因をどんどん突き詰めていっても、無限に広がっていくだけ。
If we look for the cause, it just leads everywhere to no end.
原因の原因の原因は何？そんなことを考えても意味がないと思わない？
It's the cause of the cause. Chasing that and thinking in that way is kind of pointless, right?
だから私は言ったの。
That's why I said what I did. That's what I did. I said what I did.
すべては起こるべくして起こったって。
Everything happened because it was supposed to. I like that point of view. I really like that.
それにね、
Besides,
私があの時したことは犠牲者を最小限に食い止めるための極めて合理的な決断だったと思う。
what I did helped minimize the number of injuries, and I think it was a good decision. Turns out that she's correct about that.
ココは助かった。
I helped you.
私もこうして今でも生きている。
And I am still alive.
だったらそれでいいじゃない。
So that makes everything okay. Okay?
私の言ってることわかる？
Do you see what I am saying? After thinking it over for a while, Coco nodded without much confidence.
今はまだわからなくてもいいの。
It is alright if you don't understand it right now.
こんなことを理解するにはあなたはまだ若すぎるから。
You're probably too young to understand it yet.
とにかく自分を責めないで。
Anyway, just don't blame yourself.
ほら、そんな泣きそうな顔しないの。
And don't get that sad look either. Tsugumi gently pinched Coco's cheek with her fingers.
いい？わかった？
Alright, you got it? Yeah. Coco furrowed her brow and gave a solid nod. Looking for a good time to chime in, I finally found my voice. Tsugumi had said it was all nobody's fault, but I still felt I had to apologize to her. I was the one who had created the opportunity that made the accident
ど
possible.
うしたの？
What is it? Tsugumi's expression was as mild as before. Tsugumi, just as I was about to say I was sorry, the shrill scream of a warning siren rang loudly in my ears. What's that?
まさかまた震災？
Oh no, not more flooding. Coco's face went pale. Focusing her eyes on one point on the wall, Tsugumi raised her body up. Wait, Tsugumi, what are you doing?
調べに行くのよ。
I'm going to see what's going on. Stupid, you've got to rest. You can't go moving around.
大丈夫よ。このぐらいの怪我なら。
I'm fine. This injury is no big deal. No big deal? You are really something. I can't believe you're so stupid. Just stay here and take it easy. I'll go check things out.
でも
But, no buts. God, I don't want you moving an inch because you do and you have to deal with me. I put my hand on Tsugumi's shoulder and laid her back on the bed. As soon as I figure out what is going on, I'll come back. Don't worry, everything will be fine. Saying that, I jetted out of the room.
待ってよ。ココも行く。ココも行くよ。
Wait, I'm coming too. I'm coming. I dashed out of the infirmary. I looked to the left and to the right. Coco, trailing behind me, grabbed and squeezed my hand.
タケピョン。どうしよう。どうしよう。
Takepyon, what are we going to do? Coco sounded scared. For now, we'll go to where everybody else is. I pulled along Coco as I ran. I headed for Dritte stock. I descended the stairs in a blur. I peeked in the control room. No one was there. Kicking up water, I sprinted down the corridor. The alarm was still blaring. I strained to listen. I didn't hear the sound of seawater rushing in or the sound of the partition squeaking under pressure. But there was something that I heard in the gaps between the siren. It sounded like rain. Like water droplets pouring down on water and the sound of the wind cutting through the sky.
何なのこの音。
What is that sound? Oh, this is just the irrigation. Wind and Coco asked me that. We were getting closer to the sound of the rain. A low sound and undercut the sound of the siren. Left of the corridor stood a gaping entranceway. Dashing into it, our eyes were met with a surprising sight. A mass of droplets were showering down from the ceiling. It was the rest area. The whole area was obscured in a fine mist. And smack in the middle of it... Sora? Sora was shining like a rainbow. We worked our way towards Sora through the rain, trying to avoid the moisture as much as possible. Coco and I were already drenched. Sora, what in the world? Sora looked up at the ceiling. I followed her gaze and looked upward. Among the countless particles of mist, something was faintly visible on the other side. Sprinklers? Hee. Sora just laughed. She didn't try to answer. Just then...
ちょっと何があったの？
Hey, what's happening? You frantically came running into the room. She was holding a fire extinguisher in her hands. She had removed the safety pin, had the nozzle aimed, and was ready to let loose with it. It was a pretty clumsy-looking attempt.
ご心配かけて申し訳ありません。
I apologize for unduly causing you worry.
ちょっとかわいそうだと思ったので。
I felt sorry for them, so I...
かわいそう？
Felt sorry? Sora turned her gaze to the flower beds on the ground. Was this all just to water the flowers? Sora just smiled. She didn't try to explain.
じゃあ火事とか爆発とかそういうやつじゃないのね。
There isn't a fire or an explosion or anything like that?
ええ。
Correct.
本当にすみません。
I'm very sorry. But Sora's face didn't look like she was sorry. Rather, it looked like Sora was enjoying the droplets showering down from the sprinklers.
びっくりさせないでよ。
Geez, don't scare me like that.
警備室のモニターに火災警報が出たから慌てて飛んできたのにさ。
Monitor in the security room gave a fire alarm, so I came running. You replaced the nozzle on the fire extinguisher and the safety pin. Well, at least it was nothing serious, better than the alternative.
まあね。
I suppose.
そうだね。
Yeah. Or, yeah. Coco, you and I heaved a sigh and sat down where we were. The sprinklers hadn't stopped. Sora was staring at the flowers with a look of pity. It looked as if the grass and flowers were dancing, reveling in the newfound moisture.
あれ？そういえば、しょうちゃんとピピは？
Hey, what happened to Kiddo and Pee-Pee? I looked around the room. I saw them. The kid and Pee-Pee were still running around the statues.
わーいわーい雨だ雨だ
Goodness, why is the kid so much different when you're not playing as him? It's raining, it's pouring.
雨の中からやってくる
The old man is snoring. Bow.
雨にまみれた雨男少年レインは雨好きだ
And I'm singing in the rain because I like the rain.
グビグビグビグビ雨を飲む
Gulp, 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 delicious rain.
ビクビクビクビク風邪ひくぞ
A glorious feeling, but I don't want to catch a cold.
今だやっつけろ
I'm going to get you now.
賛成シャワー
It's an acid rain shower.
少年少年少年レインは雨んぼ号泣
I'm singing in the rain, what a glorious feeling, and seeing the most horribly I could possibly imagine. The kid and Pee-Pee were running about in the downpour, screaming out joyfully. It went beyond playfulness, it was close to pathological. I wonder if the kid had finally taken the plunge out the deep end. I clasped my hands together as if praying for his recovery.
雨が止んだら帰っちゃう
Oh my goodness. It's intentional.
小雨がちでも帰っちゃう土砂降りだとしても親戚の結婚式があると嘘をついて休む
Ew. Woof.
グビグビグビグビ酒も飲むビクビクビクビク公安に追われてる
I never heard this part of the song.
今だ逃げろ
Time to run, gotta escape.
傘を忘れるな
Don't forget the umbrella.
少年少年少年レインは雨降らしに触れないテレレレンテレレレンテレッテレシュワワワワン
And now we're the kid. Wow. It's raining. I was sitting at the top of the whale's nose. Sarah was beside me. She covered her head with her hand to keep the droplets from getting her hair wet.
雨
Rain?
これは雨じゃないでしょ
You know it's not rain, don't
ク
you?
ジラが潮を吹いただけ
You know it's just a whale blowing out water. I know that. I know it, but it looks like it's raining to me. Water, misty and drizzling, poured upon us from the sky. The stars reflected lights from the water droplets and emitted vibrant colors. We were in the cosmos. The whale was alive. At least it seemed that way to me. A whale swimming in the starry sky. His back surging like a wave, he undulated again and again. His soft mouth opened and closed and even puffed up time to time. And every 3 minutes he blew out a warm breath through his blowhole. A seawater mist of spray was scattered around the area. Sitting at the tip of his nose, Sarah and I bobbed up and down in time with his movements. Although he undulated so slowly that we could let go with our hands and still feel safe. It was like a cradle rocking back and forth. On the back of the whale, we sailed through the cosmos. Sarah took the lighter from her pocket and lit it. The simmering flame colored her face red. She had a pennant in her other hand. The pennant was shaking as in Sarah's small hand. It was the same one as she had shown me in the small room in the warehouse. Hey, Sarah, I'm going to ask you again, but who was the man in the pennant?
それはもう教えたでしょ
And I already told you, right? What? That he's from the sun?
うん
Yep. She handed me the pennant and the lighter, and I stared at the image closely. It goes without saying, but he seemed to look like a normal person. I had no idea how people from the sun were supposed to look, but the man in the image at least had the face of an earthling. He looked like an ordinary young man to me. Are you serious? He's from the sun? I asked her.
少年って本当に素直だよね
You're so gullible, kid. What?
太陽星人なんているわけないじゃん
There's no such thing as people on the
あ
sun.
んな炎の塊みたいなところに生物が存在すると思う
Do you honestly think life could exist on that ball of fire? So you were lying to me?
嘘っていうか冗談っていうか湾曲的な表現っていうか
I wouldn't call it lying. I was joking with you, giving you a hard time. What's that supposed to mean?
さてどういう意味でしょう
Now, what do you think it means? Sarah stretched out her arm and put out the lighter. Click. The darkness spread across the cosmos. I put the lighter and the pennant together, returning them to her. Just then, Sarah slid down the back of the whale without a word. I hastily followed suit.
このホログラム外じゃなきゃ見えないの
You can only see the image when you're outside.
日光が当たらないと見えない仕組みになってるんだ
It is made in such a way that it's only visible under sunlight.
だから太陽星人だって言ったの
That's why I said he was a sun person. Sarah stared next to the whale and started talking.
小さい頃は本気でそう思ってた
When I was young, I really believed it, though.
太陽に住んでる人間が作ったから太陽の光がないと見えないんだって信じてたの
I used to believe that you could only see it with sunlight because it was made by people who lived on the
で
sun.
このペンダントを持ってる私も実は太陽星人の子供で
That because I had this pendant, I was one of their children.
何らかの使命を与えられて地球に送り込まれたんじゃないかってそんな風に想像してたんだ
And that I was sent to Earth on some kind of mission. I used to imagine stuff like that.
今考えればあまりにも幼い妄想だけどね
Looking back at it now, I know those were really just childish fantasies. Wait a second, Sarah. We're 103 feet underwater. Where is there any sun? Shick. Sarah interrupted me and lit the lighter. Light filled the space around us. The flickering flame. Despite the insignificant size, a red, the color of a sunset shone upon the dome-shaped ceiling.
炎
A flame.
太陽がなくても炎の明かりさえあれば見えるんだ
Even without without the sun, you can still see it if you've got a lighter.
このことに気づいたのはだいぶ後になってからなの
It took me a long time to realize it, though.
10歳か11歳ぐらいの頃だったかな
I guess I was 10 or 11 or so. Really, sunlight or a flame, huh?
ただし
But still,
日光や炎があっても見えない人もいる
even if there is sunlight or flame, there are some people who can't see it. People who can't see it?
私以外の人全員のこと
Meaning pretty much everybody except me.
このホログラムの画像は私だけにしか見えないの
I am the only person I've found who can see this hologram's image.
ううん
Well,
私だけにしか見えないはずだったの
I thought I was the only one who could see
で
it.
もねつい最近この画像を見れる人が現れて
But you know, I just met someone who can also see this image. Sarah put out the lighter, the darkness came rushing back. She flicked the light on again and put it out. She repeated this action a few times, and Sarah finally spoke.
少年
Kid,
君のことだよ
I'm talking about you. My scar ached. The old scar on my left
ど
thumb.
うしてだろうね
Why is it?
どうして少年にも見えるんだろうね
How come you can see it too, kid?
ねえどうしてだと思う
Oh, why do you think? Sarah looked upward into my eyes. She pushed the pendant and the lighter against my
もう
chest.
一度見て
Will you look at it again? I took them from her. Striking the flame, I looked closer at the pendant. A weak 3D image rose dimly before me. It was a man who I hadn't even seen before. Looking at it this closely, I realized that a piece of the mirror was missing. A scar on my thumb, a piece to be filled in. I started to suspect the truth of the
何
matter.
か思い出さない
Do you remember anything?
心当たりとかない
Does anything about this ring a bell? No, not really. I was starting to realize, but I shook my head. My scar was itching as if an electric current was running through it.
そっか
Oh. Sarah dropped her shoulders in disappointment.
ここに映ってる人ね
The man in the image?
多分パパだと思うんだ
I have a feeling he's my dad. What? You think he's your father?
うんそう
Yeah?
私と
Me and
私のお兄ちゃんの
my brother's
パパ
dad.
パパパパパパ
Daddy. Daddy.
ねえパパってば
Hey, Dad.
どうして無視するのパパ
Daddy, why won't you listen to me? Well, let me tell you. Because I am not your dad, that's why.
でもパパのいない人はパパっぽい人のことをパパって呼んでもいいんだよ
I think it's okay for a girl to call someone who reminds them of their dad.
憲法の前文にそう書いてあるでしょ
It's written in the preamble of the Constitution or something. But this is Japan, so it probably doesn't say Constitution in the original. Also, there's some point where they mention talking about the assassination of JFK. That probably wasn't the assassination of JFK in the original, because I don't know if Japanese people are really into JFK. You don't say. Well, I've got 3 things to tell you. First, as far as I know, no one line in the Japanese Constitution corresponds to what you just said. Second, I'm not even close to being fatherly. Third, you've already got a dad who is still alive and well. Technically true, but not for long. So stop calling me daddy, Coco.
やだやだ
Oh, come on.
パパって呼びたいパパって呼びたいパパって呼びたい
I wanna call you daddy. Come on, can't I? Well, it is, like, to Americans, it's mildly creepy. Mildly. Forget it. I'm already taking a big hit with the stupid nickname Takepyon. Don't make me put up with another one like daddy on top of that.
もうパパの意地悪
Oh, you're so mean, daddy. I just told you not to call me that. Good. Coco growled as she glared at me. But I wasn't going to give any either. Coco and I stood face to face with each other on the verge of an outburst. As we stood there, I just couldn't help thinking of myself. How in the world did I end up in this situation? It all happened 30 minutes earlier.
ねえタケピョンタケピョン
Hey, Takepyon, Takepyon.
起きてよ
Wake up.
眠れないんだよ
I can't go to sleep. Well, what goes around comes around.
一緒に遊ぼうよ
Let's play or something. As she was saying this, Coco shook my body hard, pried open my eyelids, and poured salt water into my eyes, and even shoved hydrogen peroxide up my nose. Giving in to her dogged persistence, I reluctantly decided to keep her company. It's pronounced dogged. Anyway. Good. Coco is still growling at me.
パパって呼ばせ
You're going to let me call you daddy. She was just being outrageous.
ろ呼ばせないなら噛みついちゃうからな
If you don't, I'm gonna bite ya. Snap. Coco chomped down on my arm. Ouch, I can't believe you actually bit me. I forcibly pried her face off my arm. There were teeth marks on my arm, and the area started to turn a purplish red.
ここにいるよ
Well, believe it.
うしししししし
Coco covered her mouth with her fist and giggled triumphantly. Why on earth do you want to call me daddy anyway?
パパっぽいから
Because you seem like the daddy type to me. This, like, staging makes it seem like Takeshi is somehow the kid in Soro's dad. But it doesn't make sense because we've already established that Takeshi cannot see the pennant. Like, he can't see infrared. So it'd have to all come from mom. We don't know if Tsugumi can. That's the thing. We don't know if Tsugumi can see it. We know that you and Takeshi can't. Like, like, this kind of thing, you can't really ignore it. Like, if this kind of almost, like, makes it certain, like 99% sure that they're going to reveal that Takeshi is one of these characters' dad. Like, at this point, with this much emphasis on this. You're telling me, after you trapped me into this, that a 20-year-old guy like me seems like the daddy type. You're telling me I look old?
ううん
Nope.
なんとなくそう思っただけ
I just kinda thought you did somehow. You just thought I did somehow, huh? Well then, are you trying to say that your dad and I are alike?
全然似てないよ
Nope, not at all.
ココのパパはもっとかっこいいし頭もいいもんね
My dad is a lot better looking than you. Smarter, too. I should have been yelling at her by then, but I just couldn't bring myself to get angry with her. Because all the while, Coco was dancing around like crazy, shaking her hips and waving her arms in front of me. I guess you could say I was too distracted to be angry with her. By the way, you said your dad is on a business trip right now, didn't you? Yeah. Where did he go?
海底の研究所だよ。
He's at a research laboratory under the ocean. A research laboratory under the ocean?
レミューのね、ずーっと下んとこにね、EBF っていう研究所があるんだ。
There's a research laboratory called EBF or something down below Lemu.
ココのパパ、そこの研究員なの。
My dad is a researcher there.
あ、でもこのことはみんなには内緒ね。
But you've got to keep it secret, okay? Which I just demonstrated I'm very bad at. I didn't know why, but for some reason it didn't surprise me. As a matter of fact, it seemed perfectly logical to me. I felt as if I'd already known that. It was just a feeling, but... Then you must be worried, right? I mean, about your dad. I asked Coco.
なんで？
Why? Well, I mean...
わかった。
Oh, I got it.
ココのパパもココたちと同じように逃げ遅れちゃったかもしれないってそう思ったのね。
You thought my dad might be trapped here just like us, didn't you?
でも大丈夫大丈夫。
But don't worry, he's fine.
パパはちゃんと脱出できたみたいだから。
I know he got out safely. What? How do you know that?
わかるからわかるの。
I just do. You're also wrong, though.
ココ超能力者だから。
Because I'm psychic.
まあ、ある種のテレパシーというか、クレアボヤンスというか、プレコグニションというか、ポストコグニションというか。
Well, it's kinda like telepathy, or clairvoyance, or precognition, or postcognition. Huh?
とにかくパパは無事なの。
Anyway, my dad's okay.
ココにはそれがわかるの。
I can just feel it. Well, I was supposed to interpret this as she's just wrong, or does she actually have telepathy? Coco had a big smile on her face. I mean, her prediction's wrong. She was still performing her wacky dance.
ほいからね、ほいからね。ココ、スプーンも曲げれるよ。
What else? Oh yeah, I can bend spoons too. Well, everyone can bend spoons.
えいえい、曲がれ曲がれ、こんにゃろこんにゃろって念じると曲がるの。
I accidentally messed up a mic distance thing there, so that was probably awkward. But anyway, I tell a spoon to like, come on, just give in and bend, and it does. Oh, I see.
なんでそんなことができるのか教えてあげようか。
Wanna know why I can do that kind of stuff?
ココ、実は太陽星人なんだ。
Actually, a Solarian, a person from the sun.
太陽星人には生まれつき超能力が備わってるの。
A Solarian is born with psychic abilities.
だからできるの。
That's why.
でもね、パパとママは地球人なんだ。
My dad and mom are Earthlings.
ココだけが太陽星人なの。
I am the only Solarian here. Oh, I see. Well, that's great. I couldn't find anything else to say. The powerful microwaves that Coco produced had shaken my brain and fried it. My consciousness started becoming hazy, as if I had been in bed for 3 days with a high
コ
fever.
コね、ココね、太陽星人だからお日様が大好きなんだ。
I love the sun because I am a Solarian.
生まれ故郷の光を浴びてるとなんだか体の中がポ ポカポカとあったかくなってくるの。
And when I bathe in the rays from my homeland, I get all warm and toasty inside. And get sun cancer. And get skin cancer.
はあ、太陽みたいな。
I wish I could see the sun.
日向ぼっこしたいな。
I wish I could sunbathe.
ねえたけぴょん、ここ日向ぼっこしたくなっちゃった。
Hey, Take-pyon, I wanna go sunbathe. Well, that's kind of hard to do that right. It's kind of hard to do that right now.
知ってるけどしたいの。
I know, but I want to.
だってもう3日間もお日様見てないんだよ。
We haven't seen the sun for 3 days, you know.
たけぴょんは日向ぼっこしたくないの？
Don't you wanna sunbathe, Take-pyon? I tried to imagine. A high, clear blue sky, a nice May breeze, the horizon, the sun shimmering on the ocean's surface. It'd only been 3 days, but for some reason, the scenery from the world outside felt so far away. I couldn't wait to go outside. Outside, to the surface. Yeah, now that you mention it, I do want to sunbathe. But we just don't have that option right now. Besides, it's midnight anyway.
いやいやいやいや。
No.
日向ぼっこしたい、日向ぼっこしたい、日向ぼっこしたい。
I wanna sunbathe. I wanna sunbathe. I wanna sunbathe. Alright, we can do it tomorrow. Someone will probably have rescued us by then anyway.
今じゃなきゃ嫌なの。今すぐしたいの。
No, I wanna do it right now. Right now.
日向ぼっこ、日向ぼっこ、日向ぼっこ。
Sunbathe, sunbathe. Coco? There was no way I was going to let this outburst go. I gave her a look that said I'm about to get angry. And Coco responded with,
わかったよ。
Alright.
もうわがまま言わない。
Ask anymore. Her shoulders drooped
その
sadly.
代わり、
Instead, let's what?
ひよこごっこやろ。
Let's play chicks. What?
ひよこごっこ、ひよこごっこ、ピヨピヨピー。
Play chicks. Play chicks. P, 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 P.
ひよこごっこ、ひよこごっこ、ぷっぷくぷー。
Play chicks. Play chicks. Boo, 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 boo. Earth to Coco, would you mind telling me what you're talking about?
説明しよう。
Okay, I'll explain.
ひよこごっことは1648年フランスのルイ14世によって考案された格調高い貴族的遊戯の一つである。
Playing chicks is an elegant aristocratic game developed in 1648 by Louis XIV of France. Sorry, France.
ルールは簡単。
The rules are simple.
ひよこの真似をしてピヨピヨと歩き回ればよい。
All you have to do is imitate a chick and walk around. I cannot imagine Louis XIV imitating a chick and walking around, but whatever.
このゲームの勝敗はいかにひよこになりきれるかにかかっている。
The winner is the one that mimic a chick or becomes most like a chick.
最もひよこな人が勝ち。
The person who acts most like a chick wins.
これがひよこごっこだ。
And that's what playing chicks is all about. A few minutes later.
ピヨピヨピヨピヨ。
Pio, 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 pio.
ピヨピヨピヨ。
I'm done with this.
ピヨヨピヨヨヨピヨ
P-yo-yo, P-yo-yo, P-yo, P-yo, P-yo. P-E. P. Dear father and mother, how is everything with you? I'm currently playing chicks 102 feet under the surface of the ocean. Playing chicks is an elegant game developed by Louis XIV. You win if you can mimic a chick the best. You flap your arms like wings and peck at garbage that has fallen in the corridors. Sometimes you even trip and fall like a cute newborn baby chick to compete to see who looks the most like a chick. The sounds used basically consist of three sounds, p, yo, and n. But as you get better,
パサパサパサパサ
flap, 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 flap,
フルフルフルポソ
foo, 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 pusso. You can use imaginative sounds and even express yourself with various little chickadee gestures. Since I'm only a beginner, I can only use p, yo, n so far. But I'm working hard to become a full-fledged chick. So I mean a full-fledged chicken like mom and dad.
ピヨヨーンピヨッピー
I'm learning with an excellent teacher. Oh, I don't know why, but I'm shedding
ピ
tears.
ヨピヨピヨピヨピヨピヨピヨ
My teacher is encouraging me. I'm alright, I'm fine.
ピョンピョンピョン
My teacher wags her hips left and right as she walks. Sometimes she even flips her hips up in the air. She is the epitome of chickness. Father, mother, my teacher is the best chick mimic in Japan. No, in the world. Oh, but teacher, you didn't have to take a dump in the middle of the floor.
ピヨーピヨー
Teacher is angry with me. It's because I spoke the human language. That meant I'm sorry in chick language. It must be very hard for you two to imagine your own son playing chicks 102 feet under the ocean. Or I suppose you probably don't even believe that I'm doing this in the first place. But I suppose I can't blame you. I would have never dreamed I would be in this situation up until 3 days ago. How interesting life is. How sad we humans are. Oh, and there I go crying again. Before the ink on the paper starts to run, I will put down the pen. Well, dear father and mother, please take care of yourself. P.O. 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 P.O.
ピヨピヨ
That was the end of our game of chicks. I probably didn't mention it, but Coco won the game. Coco shouted with happiness and flashed a triumphant smile. I won. I won. Anyway, thankfully, it was over. I exhaled a long sigh of relief. Are you happy now? Let's get some sleep now. Okay. Coco and I started to walk. Coco walked holding my hand. Her hand was very small. Daddy, huh? I thought to myself. Coco had wanted so bad to call me Daddy, but it seemed that she had forgotten all about it. I was relieved, but at the same time I felt a bit lonely. Daddy, huh? I repeated the words to myself again. I had mixed feelings. Coco and I went to the infirmary hand in hand. It was Coco's turn to use the bed in the infirmary tonight. We were outside the door. For some reason, you was standing there.
見ちゃったもんね
I saw you guys. You had a grin on her face.
ピヨピヨピヨピヨってさ何やってたのあれ
Pyo, 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 pyo. Huh, what was that all about?
思い出しただけでも恥ずかしい
Oh, I'm embarrassed just thinking about it. Of course, the one who was embarrassed was me. Burning hot blood surged up from the pit of my stomach to my head. All of a sudden, my face felt like it was engulfed in flames. I don't know what the heck you're talking about. Right, Coco?
ここにはわかるよ
I know what she's talking about. Gah.
さっきのひよこごっこのこと言ってるんだよねなっきゅ
We're talking about how we were playing chicks, right, knock you? Ha 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 ha.
なっきゅも見てたんだったら一緒にやればよかったのに
If you were watching, you should have joined us.
私はいいよ遠慮しとく
Now I'm glad I passed,
ど
thanks.
うして
Why?
どうしてって言われても。
I don't know, it's just...
今からやろっか。
Oh, I know, we can play another game right now.
今から
Now?
いいよいいよ、本当に。
No, it's alright, I
ほ
mean...
ら、時間も時間だったりするし。ね。
Besides, it's really late, you know.
そっか。それもそうだね。
Well, I suppose you're right. Phew. You wiped away the sweat that had appeared on her forehead with the back of her hand.
しょうがない。
Oh well.
ほいじゃ、明日まで待つことにするよ。
I suppose I'll wait until tomorrow then.
明日
Tomorrow?
はーい。明日はなんけとひよこごっこだーい。
Yahoo, I get to play chicks with Naku tomorrow. Coco ran off to the infirmary, gesturing like a chick. You and I were left standing there. We stared at each other. Well, you see, she has fun, okay?
へえ、マジで
Are you serious? I'm serious.
私、ああいうの苦手なんだよね。
I'm not really into that kind of stuff. Me either, he was frowning. But her face started to soften as I watched. Poof. Yui was trying hard not to laugh by pressing her hand into her mouth. She was probably recalling my antics from earlier. I had a bad feeling. Hey, you, I've got a favor to ask. Huh? Can you just forget about what you saw tonight?
忘れられるわけないでしょ。
How do you expect me to forget that? Well, I suppose. Then you don't have to forget it, but would you at least keep it a secret from Tsugumi, Sora, and the kid? Well...
そうね。黙っといてあげよ
I
う。し
guess
ば
I
らく
could...
の間は。
I guess I could keep quiet about it, at least for a while. What do you mean for a
も
while?
しかしたらいずれ役立つことがあるかもしれないし。
You never know when it might come in handy. What do you know? She wanted to use it to blackmail me.
まあ、そういうわけだから倉谷くん。
So anyway, Takeshi,
わかってるね。よろしく頼むよ。
you get my drift, right? You patted me on the shoulder and walked away. I had no idea what she would ask of me, but I knew she had me where she wanted me. Of any of the 5 people that could have seen us, she was the worst. I shook my head with a sigh and opened the infirmary door. It was dark inside the room and I could barely see anything. Still, I heard the breathing of 3 sleeping people. Although I couldn't see any of them, I could tell who was sleeping where. Tsugumi, who was injured, was sleeping on the bed at the end of the room. Decay was sleeping on the examination table. Coco was using the bed in the middle, which meant I would be sleeping in the decompression chamber under the infirmary. About 90 minutes earlier, I had actually been sleeping there before Coco shoved hydrogen peroxide up my nose. You, it seemed, had lined up some chairs in the conference room and gone to sleep on them. Okay, then. I headed towards the lift in the back of the room. I stopped briefly to check on Coco. I went up to the bed in the middle of the room. Although she had been so excited a little while ago, Coco seemed to be in a deep sleep already. I suppose she's exhausted from all that playing. Coco rolled over and scratched her cheek with her fingers. Her blanket had slightly fallen off of her. Fixing her covers, I touched her hair gently. Coco mumbled softly in her sleep. Daddy. I didn't know which dad she was referring to, but I couldn't help smiling. Daddy.
パパ、
Daddy.
お兄ちゃん、
Brother. What?
寒いよ。
I'm so cold.
早くここから出して。
Please let me out of here.
助けてよ。
Help me.
お兄ちゃん、
Brother.
助けてよ。
Help me.
お兄ちゃん。
Brother.
お兄ちゃん。
And now we're back as the kid. So, no choices in that one whatsoever. Like, no choices, just pure text. Or just like reading a book. but I'll pick up again next time I record.